Members, we're now going to lift the call on file item 89.
De Leon? Aye. Galgiani? Glazer? Hueso? Lara? Leno? Nielsen?
Ayes 21, noes 13, measure passes. Members, we're now going to move forward on file item 27. Senator Hernandez. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 137 by Senator Hernandez, an act relating to health care coverage.
Senator Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, California obviously has played an incredible role in the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. With a third of the population now in Medi-Cal, we've got a covered California that's just, growing in leaps and bounds. And I believe the success of the Affordable Care Act in the state is going to lead to the success of its act in this country. But along with that we've had some problems, obviously, with the Medi-Cal enrollment, trying to get everybody into it. We're working out the glitches in covered California. But one of the concerns that I've always continued to hear from consumers, whether it's in the paper, et cetera, was that on provider directories and their accuracy. So what this bill is going to do, it's intended to ensure health insurance provider directories are accurate. So keep in mind when a consumer looks up to make sure that they're going to get a product, or they want to make sure that their provider is there, or if they're going to be switching, so they want to make sure that they have accurate provider lists. This bill also creates uniform standards so that the search tools can be used to easily determine which product a provider participates in. And I am going to be working with the plans on any concerns that may have arise out of this bill. And with that, members, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Hernandez. Members, any debate or discussion? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? Aye. Bates? Bell? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Block? Aye. Canella? Aye. De Leon? Aye. Fuller? Gaines?
Aye.
Aye. Galgiani? Aye. Glazer? Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? Aye. Jackson? Aye. Lara? Leno? Leyva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? Aye. Morrell? Aye. Wynn? Nielsen? Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Aye. Runner? Stone? Aye. Vidak? Aye. Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Secretary, please call the absent members.
Bates? Fuller? Glazer? Aye. Lara? Leno? Wynn? Nielsen? Runner?
Ayes 33, noes 0. Measure passes. Members will now move forward to file item 29. Senator Pavley, are you prepared to bring this measure forward? Senator Pavley? Pass on file. Members will move to file item, I don't see Senator De Leon. Here he is, yes. Okay, file item 30. Senator De Leon, are you prepared to bring this measure forward? File item 30. SB 548. Pass on file. Pass temporarily. All right, members, we'll move to file item 33. Senator Jackson. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 347 by Senator Jackson, an act relating to firearms.
Senator Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. This measure will strengthen our firearms laws by adding to the list of persons prohibited from purchasing or possessing a firearm for a 10-year period to include those who are convicted of specified firearm-related misdemeanors. Members, firearm laws are a critical component of the state's responsibility to ensure public safety. According to FBI statistics, in 2013, well over two-thirds of all the murders in California were firearms related. In order to prevent gun violence, we've adopted policies to prohibit the purchase of guns by persons believed to be high risk for future criminal activity. Because many firearm-related misdemeanors are not included in the prohibition, many individuals with a history of criminal activity still legally purchase firearms every year. According to a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, handgun purchasers who have had a single prior conviction for a nonviolent firearm-related offense are still 7 times more likely to be charged with new nonviolent firearm offenses, 4 times more likely to be charged with new violent offenses, and 5 times more likely to be charged with murder, rape, robbery, or aggravated assault than persons with no prior convictions. This study demonstrates the need to strengthen our firearms regulations, and SB 347 would do that by expanding the number of misdemeanors, resulting in a 10-year prohibition. Amendments in Appropriations Committee provide that SB 347 applies prospectively as to most offenses. It also limits the offense of dealing with, it also limited the offense of dealing without a license to handguns. The California chapters of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, as well as several law enforcement agencies, are in support of this bill. It is vital that we protect our communities by reducing unnecessary gun violence, and particularly from those who are known to have violent propensities. Keeping handguns away from them is critical to the safety and well-being of the public. And with that, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote. And this is not a district bill.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Stone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I rise in opposition to Senate Bill 347. Much like most of the anti-gun bills that have been passed in the past few years, this bill will do nothing. Again, I say it do nothing to prevent serious violence in the state of California. It's just another attempt to limit our Second Amendment rights. There are good reasons to have a prohibited category of people not allowed to own a firearm, but this bill goes way too far and dilutes that list by adding several misdemeanors to that list. As an example, a family member giving ammunition to a child while out on a hunting expedition is not a criminal act, but that could be penalized under this bill. The simple act of forgetting to lock a handgun in your car while transporting it does not warrant a 10-year ban. This bill is a serious overreach, and I would strongly urge a no vote.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Members, any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, Senator Jackson, you may close.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to reemphasize the fact that in the measures in the prohibited persons list and the statistics associated with people who have violent propensities, again, the Journal of the American Medical Association shows that people who have a single prior conviction, and that's what we're talking about, these are often wobblers or now misdemeanants who have a single prior conviction for a nonviolent but firearms-related offense, are 7 times more likely to be charged with new nonviolent firearm offenses, 4 times more likely to be charged with a new violent offense, and 5 times more likely to be charged with murder, rape, robbery, or aggravated assault than a person with no prior convictions. So with all due respect to my esteemed colleague, the fact of the matter is this is a way we can identify people who have a propensity for violence and make sure they are on the prohibited persons list for a 10-year period of time. And with that, I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? No. Bates? No. Bell? Berryhill? No. Block? I. Canella. De Leon. I. Fuller. No. Gaines.
No?
No. Galgiani. I. Glazer. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Hueso. Huff. No. Jackson. I. Lara. Leno. Leyva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. No. Morrell. No. Wynn. No. Nielsen. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. No. Runner. No. Stone. No. Vidak. No. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Secretary, call the absent members.
Bell. I. Canella. No. Hueso. Lada. Leno. Nilsson.
Ayes 22, noes 14, measure passes. Members will move to file item 34. Senator Liu, are you prepared to bring this measure forward? Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 499 by Senator Liu, an act relating to teachers.
Senator Liu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I ask for your support on SB 499. This bill is about increasing educator effectiveness and supporting the development of a high-quality workforce. Research consistently identifies the quality of a teacher as a single most important factor in improving student achievement. In California, we lack consistent or comprehensive system to measure the quality of teaching in our public schools. The media has framed this conversation as a discussion between good teachers versus bad teachers, and how do school districts get rid of really bad ones. I don't agree with this fundamental premise of this characterization. We must pivot and change the conversation to be about supporting all teachers and administrators in their ability to be effective, regardless if they are new or veterans. This requires an evaluation system that includes professional support, training, and a fair and reliable mechanism to measure quality and effectiveness. SB 499 details the foundation for a comprehensive evaluation system that seeks to establish a culture of continuous improvement for all educators and improve student outcomes. This system would be based on California's renowned standards for the teaching profession and also require pupil academic growth based on multiple measures to be part of a teacher evaluation. Consistent with current practice under the STAHL Act, school districts must collectively bargain their teacher evaluation process with their union. The difference here is that the specific components identified in the bill must be part of the teacher evaluation system and cannot be bargained away. In our effort to improve student outcomes, this bill also establishes an administrator evaluation system that is based on a previous bill I authored, which was signed into law, SB 1292, which established permissive principal evaluations. Building off SB 1292, this bill requires all school districts to implement administrator evaluations based on the California Professional Standards for Educational Leaders. Also analogous to the teacher evaluation, it requires pupil academic growth based on multiple measures to be part of the administrator evaluation. SB 499 is not designed to punish teachers. Instead, it establishes a system to evaluate all teachers in a fair and transparent manner with the goal of providing continuous improvement while focusing on improving student achievement, and I ask for your support on the bill.
Thank you, Senator Liu. Members, debate or discussion? Senator Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And as I've discussed with Senator Liu, I'm going to support you today, primarily because I think that the body needs at least one vehicle moving forward, because there have been several bills on the Assembly side that clearly have appeared to stall. And as I listened to you very closely, Senator Liu, you talked about the need to pivot in terms of the focus on supporting teachers. The concern I have is, from my perspective, the need to pivot to focus our attention on children who are not performing. children who are falling victims year after year, grade after grade, to an achievement gap that seems to be widening versus closing. Clearly, this is the hot potato issue, perhaps, of this legislative session, Senator Liu, and the whole notion of whether or not there is indeed a conflict of interest when teachers are developing their own job performance evaluation metrics. And again, I'm going to support the bill because I think the dialogue needs to continue, and as we know, given the nature of our business, it takes a vehicle to force all of the vested interests to the table to have a real conversation about critical systemic change that must occur in public education to close the achievement gap that is widening for students across the spectrum, students of color, students who English is their second language, students from disenfranchised communities, and schools that have a high proportion of students who are on free or reduced breakfast or lunch. And so I'm going to support it, but I want to make clear to you that as I read the letter of opposition from my school district, the largest school district in the country, as we begin to look at all of the vested interests, what continues to concern me is none of those letters talk about the achievement gap and the whole point of a teacher evaluation and the whole point of the correlation between student performance and teacher evaluation is to really create a culture in which the focus is on closing the achievement gap and supporting students in doing better than they have now for a pretty consistent period of time. I'll support you, but I really hope that as your vehicle moves to the other house, we can continue to have this very critical policy conversation about how students are not left behind while we also respect and support teachers in their own evaluation and professional development.
Thank you, Senator Mitchell. Senator McGuire.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, and I want to first thank the author for all of the hard work and obviously as chairwoman as well as the Education Committee. Know that there is an additional bill that's going to be coming from the Assembly, and this bill is a continued work in progress, and would hope that there's going to be continued work with all sides of the Education Coalition, both teachers as well as superintendents who we have heard from in our district. But I know that this bill is a work in progress and appreciate all of the work that the author has put in to this effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator McGuire. Senator Liu, would you like to close?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the comments made by my colleagues, and we all know how important it is for the well-being of our society to improve the working conditions of our students, the success of our students, and in part, how important it is to make sure that our teachers and administrator are part of this team to help all of us move forward. So you have my commitment that we're going to do the best we can to make sure that our kids get it right. So appreciate your support today.
Thank you, Senator Liu. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? No. Bates? No. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Aye. Cannella? No. De Leon? Aye. Fuller? No. Gaines?
No.
No. Galgiani? Aye. Glazer? No. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Hueso? Huff? No. Jackson? Aye. Lada? Leno? Leyva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? No. Morrell? No. Wynn? No. Nielsen? Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Runner? No. Stone? No. Vidak? No. Wachowski? Aye. Wolk?
Secretary, please call the absent members.
Wolk, aye. Allen? Hill? Aye. Wessel? Aye. Lada? Leno? Nielsen? Roth? Roth, no.
Ayes 21, noes 15, measure passes. Members, we will now move to file item 35. Senator Liu, are you prepared to bring this measure forward?
Thank you.
Secretary, please read.
Yes.
Senate Bill 38 by Senator Liu, an act relating to taxation and making an appropriation therefore.
Senator Liu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, SB 38 was amended in Senate Appropriations to reflect the governor's earned income tax proposal and is the Senate's vehicle for continued discussion on the state's EITC. This version of the bill lays the foundation for the new credit and, along with actions taken in the budget, will make California the 22nd state to offer a refundable earned income tax credit. An aye vote on this measure is a commitment to continuing the conversation around EITC, which has thus far this session been a bipartisan issue. So I hope that, and I ask for your support on this measure.
Great. Thank you, Senator Liu. Debate or discussion, Senator Vidak.
Mr. President and members, common sense has no party lines. That's why I rise in support of Senate Bill 38. This earned income tax credit will help keep more money in the wallets of hardworking, low-income families who are struggling to make ends meet. Most people want to work, and this tax credit rewards work while helping lift families out of poverty. This is not a handout, it's a hand up. I respectfully ask your support on this bill, and I'd ask to be a co-author if amendments are made in the Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Vidak. Senator Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. This is one of the tenets of the Women's Caucus Creating a Stronger California initiative this year. Women are more likely to be the primary caregivers in a family, and increasingly women are becoming the primary income earners as well. Women are half of America's workforce, and families depend on women's income now more than ever before. That in the fact that single mothers head up almost a quarter of households in California with children under the age of 18 and 73% of single-parent households overall, a group that is more likely to live in poverty. This credit will provide necessary financial relief for countless families, and our strength, the strength of the great state of California, our size and national significance make it a critical place to move the needle on economic policies for women. On that basis, and the common sense notion that we here today have an opportunity to do good things for the people of this state, I would urge your support. This is about economic opportunity for all, economic opportunity for women, and making California a stronger state.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Anderson, followed by Senator Morlock.
I rise in support, and I just want to say for the record that while this may be a women's caucus issue, it's not defined by women only. Men can care about the poor. Men can care about their fellow man as well, in women. So I just want to put that on the record. The second thing is, these programs traditionally have an extremely high rate of fraud. So as you're moving forward and you're looking to improve the bill, I would ask that you'd look at protections that we could add up front to ensure that the poorest receive the money, as opposed to fraudulent folks who are stealing the money from the poor. And I think it's incumbent upon us to ensure that those protections are put in place before the fact and not a year later when we're trying to retrieve the money that's gone to the wrong person. Having said that, I hope that when you look at those amendments that you'd add me as a co-author. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in opposition to the bill. The state of California is currently not flush, and we're talking about approximately $400 million in rebates. Mr. President, our balance sheet for the state of California, our assets equal our liabilities. State of Texas, the liabilities are 1/3 of the size of the assets. We've got a long way to go. And so I am not anti-employee, I'm not anti-woman, I'm concerned about the fiscal well-being of the state of California. The amount of the credit to qualify is rather strange. It's $6,580 for someone with one exemption and $13,870 with 3 exemptions, which is a rather low threshold. It's not too many people really fall in that category. So it almost seems as if this is a gesture that's symbolic at best. And those that are self-employed are not included, which means we're not incentivizing those that are risk takers that are trying to get a business started, which may put them in this income category with all of the overhead and all the risk that comes with starting a business. So I stand in opposition to this bill, and thank you for your time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Morlock. Senator Bates.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've spoken this morning quite a bit about the goals. One of the major goals I think we all have as we entered this session in this part of our legislative careers is to really address what we see as poverty issues in our state. Many of our people, if not in poverty, are laboring around the edges of that, and that is why I'm very supportive of this bill. I do believe, concurring with my good colleague from San Diego, Senator Anderson, that we do need to have the fraud protections in it, and I'm appreciative that the senator is going to address those. But I'm strongly in support. I was a principal co-author on the good senator from Hanford, which did have those protections in it. But again, if we're goal-oriented and we have objectives to meet that, and we have tactics that we are in control of as legislators, this is a good bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bates. Members, any further debate or discussion? Seeing none, Senator Liu, would you like to close?
I simply ask for your support and thank Senators Vidak and Bates for their comments.
Thank you, Senator Liu. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Wesso. Aye. Huff. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Leno. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. No. Morrell. Wynn. Aye. Nilsson. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Aye. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Secretary, please call the absentees.
Bell, aye. Berryhill. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Huff. Lada. Leno. Morrell. Aye. Nielsen.
Ayes 35, noes 1, measure passes. Members, we've completed 17 bills. Our goal is 60. So any help on your part to keep things moving along, we really appreciate it. We'll move now to file item 36. Senator Pavley, Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 62 by Senator Pavley, an act relating to student financial aid.
Yes, thank you very much, members, and I'd like to thank my joint authors, State Senator Bob Huff and Marty Block, for joining me on this. This is a teacher recruitment bill. For those of you who have been following it, we've actually dropped off the number of students enrolled in teacher credentialing programs by 74% over the last 10 to 12 years for a variety of reasons. The high cost of education coupled with the student loan debt, the recession caused some job insecurity among younger teachers. We've eliminated all teacher recruitment and financial aid programs, and 1/3 of California's teachers are currently 50 years old or older. They will be retiring soon. So this bill reinstates and improves on one of California's most effective, proven teacher recruitment tools It's called the Assumption Program of Loans for Education, or APPLE. It's a reduction in student loan debt in exchange for teachers willing to teach for at least 4 years, hopefully in rural or hard-to-serve communities that desperately need new teachers. Ask for your aye vote. This bill is sponsored by Superintendent Torlakson and has a broad variety of supporters, from CTA to the school administrators to the school boards to PTA. Ask for your aye vote.